Thank you for your patience. My name is Firas Trabolsi. I'm a real estate broker like you, and I also do trainings for Centris. Today's training, we're gonna be showing you how to use the different tools we have in the Centris zone to be able to work as a team in a more efficient way. So today's training, we're gonna be showing you how to do different setups, how to play with the settings of the tools we have in order to have a better use of it when you work in a team. Before we start, I'm curious to know, any of you guys is already working in a team? Okay, so I see that a few ones from you are working in a team. So I hope you're going to find this training useful. Just keep in mind that today's training is not about how to show you how to create a team and hire brokers and be the best real estate team in Quebec. The idea for this training is to show you how to do different setups, how to use different tools in order to be more efficient when you work in a team. Okay, and today's training, it's going to take maybe about, I would say, an hour. I'm going to start with showing you a PowerPoint presentation, and after that, we're going to maybe go a bit further in some of the tools we have to show you how to do the right setup for your team. Okay, so we're going to start with the PowerPoint. It's going to take us maybe 15 minutes, and after that, we're going to take a closer look on the different tools we have. So this training is for you. If you currently work or you are planning to work in a team or in a partnership, if you want to, if sometimes you do replacement for some of your colleagues at your agency, also if you are a mentor and you do some trainings for new brokers, in all those situations, this training is going to be very useful for you, very helpful for you if you want to do one of the things we mentioned. And also, if you have an assistant or an administrative staff, you can also use this training. You're going to find it very useful. And why is it very important for you to have the right configuration for different tools we have in Centris and when you work in a team? Well, the main idea behind it, why Centris decided to make this training, is just to remind everyone that you cannot share your codes with anyone. Okay, so your login codes for Centris, you cannot share it with anyone. You cannot share it with your assistant. You cannot share it with a colleague at your agency. So it's prohibited to share it with anyone. So you have to keep it for yourself. And also, when you work in a team and you have the right setup, you're going to be aware of who did what at any time. So you're going to have an history of all the actions taken by each person in a team. So it could be another broker in your team. It could be an assistant in your team. So you're going to be aware of who did what when using the different tools in a team. And also, it will allow you to personify a teammate. And there's a difference between personifying someone in your team and replacing someone in your team. So if a broker impersonates you, even if he is the one who's taking all the actions in the tools, it's your name that will appear in the different forms when sending notices, for example, or sending a form to one of your clients. So whenever you replace someone, it's going to be your name that will be shown in the different tasks that you're doing. But when you are personifying a teammate, it's going to be this teammate name that will appear in the forms, for example, or in the simple notice, and you're going to be doing the work for this colleague. So depending on each situation, sometimes it would be better for you to replace someone, and sometimes it could be better to personify that person, depending on the kind of communication you want to have when you are working in a team. And also, it will allow you to have some tasks performed by an assistant or another broker. And once again, there is a lot of different setups you can have in your teams. And there is teams where there's only brokers. There's teams where you have 2 brokers and 2 assistants. There is a team where there's maybe 20 brokers. So once again, it's going to be up to you to adapt or to make the right configuration for the tools to adapt it to the way you work in your own team. So if you are one broker and you have one assistant, maybe you won't need to have the same settings that if you are in a team of 15 brokers and 5 assistants. So it's going to really up to you to decide how to use the different tools in Centris. And also, it will make it much easier for the brokers in your team to easily substitute themselves in case somebody's sick, someone needs to travel, someone is on vacation, and it will ensure that the communication with the client will keep going, and this way each one in the team will help each other to have a better communication with the client. Okay, so when we talked about personification, this is an example you see on the screen. So if I'm working with Danielle and we are preparing an offer for one property, and Daniel is on vacation, for example, and for some reason, he doesn't want his client to know that he's away on vacation for some reason. So I can do the job for Danielle. I'm going to be doing all the work. I'm going to be preparing the offer, and the name that will show in the offer is going to be Daniel's name. Okay, so this is basically the main difference between personifying someone and replacing someone. If I'm replacing Danielle, it's going to be my name that will show in the offer because I'm replacing him. But if I'm personifying him, it will be his name that will show up in the offer. So, and for most of the tools we have in Centris, so we have different settings and we have different permissions. We have to pick the right ones to adapt this tool to the way we manage our team. So here we're talking about Immocontact, we're talking about Prospect, InstanetForms, Matrix, Simple Notice. All those tools, you can use it as a team in a more efficient way. And just keep in mind that for prospects, this is a tool that's managed by them directly. So if you want to use it in your team, you have to keep in mind that if you are using a pro version and there's another broker in your team who's using the basic version, you won't be able to make the right configuration to use it as a team. So if you want to use it in your team, prospect, if you want to have the right settings, well, you have to have the same version, either the basic one or the pro one. And if you have any question regarding prospect, you can contact them directly. They manage their own application, but for everything else, you can always contact Centris, and they will gladly help you. Okay, just want to bring to your attention that I already made a document available in the handouts. There is a takeaway document PDF that you can download from now if you want, and in it you're gonna have a reminder about the different kind of team, the various type of teams that you can create. So you can download it right now if you want, keep it in your files, and maybe you can see what kind of teams you have, which one of those teams you have. It's gonna make it easier for you to do the right setups after. So let's start by the easiest kind of, well, let's say not easiest, but maybe the simplest kind of teams. It's a team where you have one broker and one assistant, and this is to be able to have access codes for your assistants. So sometimes when I meet different brokers who have assistants, very often they would give their codes, their logins to their assistants. But this is not the right way to do it. If you have an assistant or if you recently hired an assistant, all you have to do, you have to go to your EO and ask him to have this form that you see on the screen. So basically this form has to be filled by you and by your assistant. You have to sign it and your assistant has to sign it. You have also to select for which of the tools you want to give access to your assistant. Once again, depending on the kind of management you have for your team, depending on the kind of setups you have for your team. For example, some teams, they only need an assistant to manage the messages we get in Immocontact. Or you have sometimes a system that will only handle the broker loading system. So they're going to be creating the listings. Once again, depending on the way you manage your team, depending on the settings you have to select, for example, if for your assistant, you want him or her to manage your Immocontact communications and to create the listings for you, to do the setups in the broker loading system. Well, in that case, you select those two, or you can select all of them. Once it's signed by you and your assistant, you send it back to Centris, and within 24 hours, you're going to get login codes for your assistants. So he or she will be able to use his own codes, and he will have access to the tools to which you give access. So if you only give him access to the Immocontact, he or she will only have access to Immocontact. Okay, so this is really important because still, recently last week I was speaking with a broker from a different agency, and he was telling me that he hired an assistant, and that her assistant is very helpful and he likes her a lot. So okay, I said, listen, that's a good thing. Do you have login codes for her? And he was surprised to know that we could do that. So to do it, you just have to follow what I showed you earlier, and within 24 hours you will get the codes, and your assistant will be able to log in and use the tools to which you give access. So now if you are a broker team, so once you create your team, you will automatically have access to the various tools we have, but you have, for some of the tools, to adjust the access right for the broker loading system, the Centris.ca counters, Simple Notice, and the document sharings and profile to allow it to act on your behalf on the team broker. So here we're talking about Simple Notice, a broker loading system, and the Centris counters. So now if we talk about Simple Notice, is everyone aware of Simple Notice? Sometimes some brokers are not aware of what Simple Notice is. I have two questions here, one from Madame Papacristo. Are we able to share my code to my assistant on Prospect? You're not supposed to. You should have your own codes. You can call Prospect and they will guide you through the process to have your codes. So that will be the right way to do it. And a question from Mr. Charles. If there is a fee to add an assistant, yes, there is a small fee. To be honest with you, I don't remember it exactly, but there's a fee. It's a small fee. I think maybe it's like maybe $20 a month, I think. I would have to check my invoice actually that we get for the monthly memberships fee because I have an assistant, but I don't remember, to be honest with you. I think it's around $20. I can confirm a bit later and get back to you. So it's a small fee. Okay, so for Simple Notice, who's using Simple Notice? It's a tool that was launched maybe now 2-3 years ago. It's not being very used by the brokers for some reason that I cannot understand, but it's a very useful tool. I'm gonna still talk about it during the training today, during the webinar, but if you are not aware of what Simple Notice is, I invite you maybe to go and take a look on the different resources available online. And you know what? I can maybe show you that right away. Let me just log out from here. And let's connect. Okay, so let's put that in English. There we go. So I wanted to bring to your attention that if for any of the tools we have in Centris, if you have, if you don't remember how to do something, or if you want to just learn how to do something and you don't have time, for example, to register to one of the webinars we have, well, you can directly go to your Centris zone and access the tool you want to learn more about. So for example, if there is something that you don't remember about Matrix and you just have to go to the tools, click on the toolkit, and you have, first of all, you can register to some of the webinars that are coming. So you can register right from here. And also you have tutorials. So for example, you have a tutorial about an hour on how to search for a property, how to make an auto email, how to make a CMA. So all those are available 24/7 at any time you want. There's something that you don't remember or something that you don't know, you can always go there and learn more about how useful this tool could be. For example, I was talking about Simple Notice. If you haven't heard about Simple Notice or you don't know what it is, you just go and look for it, and it's right here. So you can click on the toolkit, and in this section, you will have some resources available to you. So you can listen to some of the tutorials, you can register for the next training, or also you can access some of the resources available. There is like a PDF document that you can read. So you have a lot of resources available for you for all of the Centris tools that we have. So at any time you forgot how to do something in one of the tools, you don't remember how to do something, you can log in, access the resources available for that tool, and you can learn by yourself at any time you want. Usually trainings we have like every month, there is a few trainings that are given by Centris. So once again, you can register for that if you want. Okay, so if you are using Simple Notice in a team, well, you can have, first of all, you can personify a team member. For example, you can get the adhesion of the sellers and buyers. You can create a promise to purchase. You can also send a notice and respond to the notice or consult a notice. So all this will be available to you once you create your team. And to do the right setup, all you have to do once your team is created, you go into Simple Notice, and you have this section here in the red square. If you click on it, well, you're going to have all the team members, so you can select which team member you want to represent, or you want to replace, or you want to personify. You select, and from that time, once you select that colleague or the team member, you're going to be able to send the notice or to add a seller or a buyer to Simple Notice since you work in a team. Okay, so this is for Simple Notice. As I told you, if you don't know what is Simple Notice, I strongly recommend you to go and learn more about it. It's a very useful tool. We should have maybe some training about Simple Notice coming in the coming weeks. So maybe just you can register to the next training that's coming. Now, if we talk about Centris.ca counters, once again, when you work in a team, you have access to the meters of other brokers, and you can also set up automatic emails to the customers for a broker from your team. Okay, so once again, very simple. Once you log in the Centris counters and you have the team set up, you can go in one of your teammates' listings and select the counters. You can also do the setup to share it with the seller if it wasn't done by a colleague. This brings me to remind you also, once you work in a team, you can also maybe have a different setup where everything is managed by one team member, and other brokers are, for example, responsible of making meeting with the buyers, some other might be responsible of meeting with the sellers, and some might be responsible of managing all the communication. So once again, it's up to you. Just and to let you know that once you have the team set up, any team member, any colleague, any broker can do the different setup for all the listings that you have. So for the broker loan system now, it's among the most important tools we have in Centris. Once again, if you work in a team, you can access the listing of that teammate. And you have here what we see in the green bluish rectangle here. If you are a team of 3 brokers, well, you can select one of the brokers you have in your team and access his listings. And you could, for example, modify one of the listings. You can add pictures, you can change the description, you can add documents, as if it was your own listing. Okay, so for example, if you're working in a team with another broker and this broker is on the road making some showings, and he noticed that there is maybe a mistake in the listings and the listing, and he can just call you, listen, can you please do the change, or he wanted to add a document, so you can do it for him as if it was your own listing. So this is very important also, because this, I think, one of the main advantages of working in a team is to be able to count on somebody to do changes or to add more information, handle some of the communication while you are busy getting more customers, making more sales. So this is for the broken loading system. And something that was recently added in the Centris zone, I don't know if you paid attention to it, but now we made it very short. You don't need to click on 20 different things before getting to where you want to get in the different tools. But now from the Centris dashboard, from the Centris zone dashboard, well, right away, when you have a listing, you can click on the 3 dots on the right, and you can select where you want to go directly. So if the old way used to be, for example, if you want to view one of your listings in the broker login, well, you would have to go in the broker login, look for the listing you want to change, go into it. But from the center zone now you can right away access it. You just have to select the listing, click on where you want to go, so you can access the broker login system, Centris.ca, so you can see it on Centris. You can access the counters, InstanetForms, metrics, and you can also share it right away from here to your customers, for example, or to a potential buyer. So we made it really more simple, easier, quicker. Nobody likes to click like maybe on 20 different places to access what he wants to do online. Okay, so now for Immocontact, for sure, well, Immocontact is also one of the tools we use a lot. So in Immocontact, you can have many options, and to show you those options, I'm gonna right away go and log in my training environment. Okay. Okay, where is it? There we go. So I'm logging into the training environments. Everything you see here is really for training purposes only. Let's log out from here. Okay, so here we go. I'm logged in, so let's go. We're talking about Immocontact. So let's log in Immocontact and see what we could do as a team. So I'm gonna go to the settings, and maybe the first thing I could show you in Immocontact is how to make replacements. And by the way, to make a replacement, you don't need to be in a team. You just have to be in the same agency. So if I have a colleague at my agency who's going on vacation and he is looking for somebody to replace him for a week, I could replace him for a week without having to be in a team. Okay, so once I do the configuration in Immocontact, I can do it, and when he comes back, I can remove it on, or we can also do the setup right from the beginning. So to replace somebody, I just have to click on Add Replacement. So we can just select for all the time. So if, for example, this broker is going for an unknown periods of time for family emergency, for example, I can leave it as all the time, or we can select a custom period, which usually what happens. So if he's going, for example, on vacation tomorrow and coming back on the 20th, I can also select the time. Let's say he's leaving tomorrow at 10 a.m. and he will be back at 10 a.m. on the 20th. Okay, and so basically just have to select who's replacing me. So that's it. So Centris 15 is a name for the trainings. It could be anyone from your agency. So once I do all this settings, so what will happen is from tomorrow at 10 a.m. until the 20th at 10 a.m., all the messages that this broker would get that I would get in Immocontact will be transferred to Centris 15, who's replacing me. Okay, and also I can decide to have a copy of those messages if I want. So for some reason, I still want to be aware of what's happening with the listings, what kind of messages I'm getting in Immocontact. So I can activate that option also, or turn it off. It's up to you. So now, once I click on Save, we're gonna see that I have a replacement here. Centris 15 will replace me from tomorrow 10 a.m. until the 20th on 10 a.m. And you can at any time go in any of the replacement and you can delete it, you can modify it. So it's really up to you to change it how you want. Okay, so now if we talk about the team, okay, you go to in your Immocontact and you go to Settings, My Team. If you click on it, now here you have to add your team members. Okay, so even if your team is created in Centris, you have to add it in Immocontact, so it's not done automatically. So to add a team member, you click on Add Team Member. You select the person that you want to add. So I selected Centris 10, and we click on Save. Okay, so here's something I cannot show you because I'm in a training environment. Once I add, for example, here you could see for Centris 15 and Centris 10, two colleagues that I have in my team. well, you're gonna see that it says pending approval, okay, for both of them. Okay, and the reason why is once you add somebody in Immocontact, this person has to approve being added to your team. As long as you don't get the approval from the person that you're adding to your team, you won't be able to show it, you won't be able to see it in Immocontact. Okay, so the other person has to confirm that he or she really is working with you in a team. Okay, so once again, at any time, you can click on one of the team members and you can remove it from the team. It's as simple as that. So it's very, very simple to do that. Okay, so this is how to do replacements, how to add somebody in your team, and you can also change the settings for the list and dispatch. Okay, so in that section, this is where you could say who gets what. Okay, so you can, once again, once you have your team set up in Immocontact, you can decide, for example, that one team member, one broker, will be handling all the messages you get for shower request. So for example, if I'm working in a team with Centris 15 and I want him to manage all the shower requests, so I will click on it and click on always for the shower request, shower confirmation, and showing cancellation. Okay, so I click on save. So now you're going to see that I have the check mark right here that for Centris 15 he's getting all those type of messages. And I can decide that co-listing agent 2, I don't want him to get any messages from Immocontact. So I click on his name and I click on never on all the type of messages. And now what will happen is he won't get any messages. And you can really decide how to manage it your own way. It could be only your assistant, for example. You can add your assistant also in Immocontact, and in that case, you will be able to decide what kind of messages is handled by whom. So it's really up to you. There's like 20 ways of managing Immocontacts, maybe more than 20 ways actually, to do the right setup for your team. And that's it for Immocontact. I think it seems that we have a question. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Eddie. Mr. Lopez, it would be appreciated if you can write your question. I'll answer it. Thank you. So this is for Immocontact. Okay, and by the way, if you have any questions at any time, you can just write your question. I'll take a look on it and answer it as soon as I can. Okay, so now let's talk about matrix. There we go. So once again, for matrix, you have to do some setups in order to have the right settings for your team. So I'm going to show you the user guide for matrix. It's going to be very helpful for you. We're going to do a configuration for a team. We're going to create a team. And also I'll show you how to use the identity of another team member in matrix. And there's a lot of advantages of having the right setup. First of all, it will allow you to easily replace brokers. Avoid multiple searches for a specific client on the team. So imagine, for example, you're a team of 5 brokers and there is a new listing that comes to the market and the five of you share it with the same customer. It's not really maybe the best way to show how professional you are, but imagine that you can send it from the team to one client. And also all the team members will be able to view the rejected and approved listing on client portals. Okay, so let's go back to the training environment and let's log in into matrix. Okay, there we go. Yes, and I'll put it in English. Okay, so now if we go to the settings in matrix, you're gonna see that there is a team settings. Okay, if we click on it, okay, let me remove this. Okay, so the first thing is there's a user guide. So if you click on it, it's about 20 pages that you have access all the time. And today we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that you can do in Matrix, but in this form, in this PDF, in these documents, you have everything you need to know about the different setups in Teams. So if you have any questions or something that we didn't cover in today's training, you can always go and download or view this guide, and you have the answer to your question. Okay, so it's very, very well done, very clear, very easy to read. So we won't have enough time to go through the whole guide today. I'm going to show you the most important things while doing the setup for your team. But anytime you have questions, go to your user guide. You will have the answer to your question on. And also, don't forget, you can also contact the Centris assistants. They're here to help if you don't find the answer to your question. Okay, so now next step, we're going to create a team. So to create a team, we have to click here to create a team. Okay, so now I will add somebody to the team, and this somebody would be me. Okay, and my trainer name is Centris15. So I have this identity when doing trainings, and this is me. So I decided to add Firas to my team. All I had to do, let's do that again. Sorry if I went too quickly. So you click here and you put the ID number. Okay, and you click on find, and the name would show. And here, by the way, you have two options. Options one is have this member impersonate me, and option two, have this member work on behalf of me. And if you have the possibility to impersonate another broker, you also have the possibility to work on his behalf. But if a broker has the possibility to work on your behalf, he doesn't mean that he has the possibility to impersonate you. Okay, so there's a difference between both, as we mentioned in the beginning. So I'm going to allow for us to be able to impersonate me. And you can also set a formal team name. So let's call it, here we go, level 123. Okay, this is the team member. Okay, and once again, here you have the option to allow team members of switching between their own names and the team name when printing and emailing to team contacts. So this will also depend on you. If you are the team leader, you can decide that all the communication that will be sent or printed, it will be the team's name that will show, or you can also allow one of the team members to be able to use their own names. Very often when we are working in a team, it's going to be the team's name that will show, but you can also, for some reason, or depending on how you manage your team, you can also allow team members to switch between their own names and team name when sending, for example, a listing in Matrix or printing a document. Okay, so this is it here. So once you set a team name once you set a name for your team, well, from that time, any team member can use the team name and send a listing, for example. Also, when you print, you can decide which name will appear on the listing once you print it. Okay, well, also same thing for the picture. It could be the picture of the broker, or it could be whatever picture you have for your team. It could be a logo also, depending on how you manage your team. I think there is a question. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Hi. I discuss a question for Mr. Lopez. I can hear that part where the broker that we add has to be from the same agency, or would be any broker, let's say a friend who works from other agencies. For Immocontact, no, you can't. So if you're going on vacation, Mr. Lopez, and you want someone to replace you, he or she has to be from your agency. You can still be replaced by somebody else, but if you want to be able to use Immocontact, he or she has to be from your agency. Okay, so this is for Matrix. This is basically what we cover in Matrix, but as I told you, you have the guide, so anytime you have questions, you can always view the user guide, but that's basically it here. You know how to add a team member, So that's good. You can also decide between letting or allowing this team member to use the team name or to use his own name for the different kind of communication we have. I know that I said that many times, that there is so many different ways of managing your team. So it's gonna be really up to you to decide how you want the communication to be done, how you want the email to be sent, which name will appear on the different communications. It's really up to you as a team leader to decide how to manage your team. Okay, so this is for Immocontact, and there's one last thing. The last tool we're gonna be talking about is InstanetForms. And once again, I will show you in InstanetForms how to create a team, how to use a team a member's identity, how also to share manually any transactions. And just keep in mind that to be able to do everything I'm going to show you, you have to make sure that everyone in your team has an InstanetForms subscription. I think it's about $80 or $90 for the year, something like that. So everyone, if you want to use InstanetForms in a team, you have to have the subscription. So if you are 5 brokers and 4 of them have the subscription and the 5th one doesn't, this person won't be able to use it as a team. Okay. So let's go back to the training environment. I'm gonna log in into InstanetForms. There we go. And this is InstanetForms. Okay, so I'm gonna create a transaction. Let's call it Laval 1, 2, 3. And let's say it's a residential sale, and I am the listing broker. Okay, we're gonna have that done quickly. I'm gonna add a form. So here we need contrat de courtage. Okay. And we need déclaration de vendeur. It's up there somewhere. There we go. Okay, so I'm creating this transaction, and it's for a house for sale in Laval. And I added the forms. And let's say now that I'm working in a team. Okay, so we just have to go to the settings. Okay. Oops. And you're gonna be able to decide who in your team manage what listings. You can decide to have it all done by you can have it all done by the same person. You can have different rights for everyone in your team. So once you go to the setup, there's a section called Teams Sharing. Okay, if you click on it, you can hear what you see. I had other teams created for other channels. So let's stick with the name we selected. So let's call it Laval 1, 2, 3. So I'm creating a team. So I gave a name to my team, and now I have to add the team members. Okay, so you can add anyone from your agency to your team. So let's select 3 different team members. And now on the right side, see, once I selected the team members, they appear on the right side of my screen now. And I can decide for each team member what kind of rights I'm giving, what kind of options I'm giving him or her. Okay, so let's start by talking about Centrist 13. Okay, so Centrist 13, I'm giving him a full access to my forms. Okay, it could be only to read. He can read and write, or give him full access. Full access, that means he can do basically everything I could do in that transaction in InstanetForms, and I also can give him the option to impersonate me. Okay, so now Centrist 13 can access the forms, can change the forms, can add forms, and can also use my own name for to send or to complete one of the forms we have in any of the transactions that I shared with this team. Because also you can decide that this transaction is shared with everyone in your team. It could be not shared with anyone from your team. You can only be the only one who has access to it. Or you can, as we're doing right now, decide in this team, in team level 1, 2, 3, who can do what. Okay, so for centrist 13, we give him the full access. For centrist 16, another one in my team, so I'm gonna give him also a full access, but I won't allow him to impersonate me. And for centrist 18, well, let's say that he's a new broker that just started, so I don't want to give him access to modify or add forms. I just want him to have access to be able to read whatever is in the forms, because he's still learning how to work as he should. Okay, so this is a scenario I gave you. So once I gave the settings, I can decide that you have this section in here. If I select it, it means that every time I create a new transaction, this transaction will be shared with those 3 team members, depending on the right they have. Okay, so if you select that, that means every time you create a new transaction, this is how it will be shared. But you can also not share it. You can decide that some transactions you want to do it yourself. You don't want to give access to the team members, or you give access only to one specific person in the team. It's really up to you how to see how you want to manage it. Okay, so once we save the settings in here and we go back to the transactions. Okay, so now we created a transaction earlier for a house for sale, and we added the forms. So let's, for example, go into the contract. Okay, so for this transaction, sorry, I don't know why it's a bit slow. Okay, so whatever is done or changed or added in the form will appear in the history of the transaction. Okay, so see, if for example I add the name of the seller, okay, and I add his address and I save the information. Okay, if I go back to the transaction and I click on the history here, you can have every single action, every small change will be recorded in here. So you can see that the transaction was created by me, and that there was form that were added, there's a form changed, everything is mentioned in it. So if you are working in a team and there's 3 different brokers that did changes to the form or added or changed anything in the transaction, it will be appear in the history. Okay, and for this transaction in here, you can also, for any of the transactions you have, you can click on the 3 dots on the right, and you can decide if you want to share this transaction with one of the teams. So here we can see there is a lot of teams. So us, we're Equipe Laval, so I can decide that I'm gonna share this transaction with this team, but not with this team, for example. And the console, if I select this team will be notified that I shared this transaction with him. So you're in full control. You can decide who gets what, who can do what. It's really up to you to manage it the way you want. So depending on your team, depending on the structure of your team, you'll be the one who will decide how to manage it in InstanetForms. But as you can see, there's a lot of options and there's a lot of ways to manage the different transactions you have in InstanetForms.